All right, what's up, guys? We've got a first place deck profile. What's your name?
Isaiah Borders.
And what were you playing today?
I was playing branded Dogmatika.
All right, show me the list.
Okay, so we'll go through the main first. But on top, we've got our Dogmatika engine.
Yep. You can go ahead and flip them too, so that everyone can see it. The Ulti Ecclesias, the hot ones. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we've got two Maximus. I'll explain why I'm playing two as opposed to just one, like some. And then the one Fleer, Search.
Explain the Maximus really quick.
So the Maximus, so when you're siding, a lot of times, you'll see later in the package that I'm playing Punishment, you'll want to side it out, right? Trap card, it's not good going second into boards. So the Maximus, not only is it good for extending through interruption, so it's not necessarily bad to see more often in your hand. In a gameplay loop, oftentimes you'll need a second one to search in order to be able to kill your opponent. So it just provides enough grind to be able to play going second. So
sure.
And so the other portion of the deck, the ritual part, a lot of people don't play this usually, but this. Let's see, we get our ritual spells here. So these are the ratios of ritual monsters here. So we play 1 and 1. So Matrix, for those that aren't familiar with it, on activation it'll search one ritual Dogmatika monster or spell. However, if your opponent controls a monster at the activation, it will net you another Dogmatika card. And it can just, any Dogmatika card, it could be Punishment, it could be Maximus, it could be Ecclesia, it could be any of them. And so this makes the deck really good going into boards. The engine's very strong. Additionally, regarding the ritual spells, the first one here, Dogmatic Calamity, it is essentially Necroz's Kaleidoscope for those that know how that card works. So on activation, you can send monsters on the field or hand equal. I think it's going to be equal exactly.
Yeah.
But the relevant portion, anyway, is the extra deck. You can send a card from the extra deck. One of the targets you'll make for Zoa here is Lulu, Destin, Lulu while Lilith. And so that will give you follow-up and an interruption against your during your opponent's turn.
Sure.
So.
Yep. Makes sense.
But anyway.
So you're not playing the other two. Usually people play the White Relic and the White Knight.
I found.
I don't like the White Knight. The White Relic's okay though.
White Relic is okay. It's currently in the side, and we'll get to that in a moment. It's good for pushing going second. But White Knight, it is okay, but I found it. Oftentimes you can just get away with one ritual.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
So, but yeah, this is generally the best one to make for your inboards.
Sure.
So.
That's the dog package, right? All the dogs.
This is all the Dogmatika cards except for the Punishment and the Nadir Servants. So there's the Punishment.
Yep.
One
obviously
searchable.
The Punishment. Yep.
Yeah, and then your Nadir.
Sure. And then you're the best card.
Yeah, best card. So, so to supplement the Dogmatika package, we've got the new cards that came out, and I think. Is this Nexus or Agov?
This was Agov.
Yeah, we can see Agov. So, but yeah, this is the ratio I'm playing.
Or 3 Gen, 1 Kin, sorry.
Yeah, so some people play Reinforcement of the Army to get another Kin, but that just plays into Droll, in my experience, so it's not necessary. But yeah, the card is an Ignition effect that basically will summon Kin on your opponent's field, and then on summon of Kin, it forces your opponent to activate its effect, essentially drawing the opponent, you, 2 cards, and you can discard one. So,
turns on your thrust talents.
Yeah, all
really good targets.
Yep, sure. And then additionally, the Dogmatika Matrix continuous spell earlier. If you use this, summon a card to your opponent's field, and you activate Matrix, guess what? Your opponent has a monster on their side, so you can get an extra search. So that's pretty good. And then for the branded package, we've got just 3 fusion, right? And then your Albaz to go with it, and a Cartesia, and a Hex Sealed Fusion. Now, Cartesia is more a part of the
You send it for fusion, right?
You can. However, most of the time you want to summon it off of Lulu while Lilith.
Oh yeah, and you can. I mean, yeah, obviously you can summon it because it's a Despia, right? Or sorry, no, it's the same attack, same defense. Yep.
Yeah, same attack and defense. Light spellcaster, so you can summon off that. So that nets you an interaction.
So no Quinn.
No Quim. No.
Okay.
Quim is generally, in my experience, too easy to play around. Your opponent can just force a battle phase, run over it. It can be interrupted pretty easily. So it's not necessarily a card you need to play. You can just summon Cartesia right off the bat. So
Okay, sure.
just trying to trim the engine down as much as you can, so you don't really need it. Let's see. So we've got our non-engine for today. So we're getting ready to go into Fire King format.
Yep. Populous is making draw a good card.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And Bonfire.
Yep. And then there's our Imperm. So 13 non-engine.
13.
So, but yeah, like I said, your triple cards, your triple tactics cards are really good in the event your Gen will resolve or can. And
it helps you play through Ash on
yes,
Brand Fusion too.
Yeah, so like if your opponent doesn't have a monster and you're forced to set a card, you can set punishment and at least have something. So.
And you felt these 9 were pretty okay?
Yeah, actually, Joel was really good today. Could have been the matchups.
Yep. Joel's usually good at
Yep. A lingering floodgate. Who would have thought, right?
Everyone in their full combo decks, yeah.
Yeah, so
I get it, yep.
Let's see. So the matches were Red Dragon Archfiend. Second round was, let's see, it was against Gold Pride Punk. Third round was against
me.
Yeah, with. I mean, you want me to divulge?
The goo. I'll leak the goo. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to say it.
Okay. And then the fourth game was against Weather Painters.
Weather Painter control dot deck. Yeah.
Jalen's a good guy. But,
so, what was your deck at?
40.
40.
Yep. I've had to trim a lot in the past. I've tested a lot of different combinations of cards, but this is what I found to be.
You had a revelation to play 40.
Yeah, who would have thought, right?
You're the 60 card guy. Now you're the
40 card guy. Yeah,
already
full heel turn. Okay, but I'll go ahead and go through the extra. So there's the Lulu we were talking about earlier. We've got a couple targets for
Nadir targets. Yep.
Yeah, so you can actually send these off of Maximus as well as Matrix.
Yeah.
Neglected to mention, Matrix has a second effect while you control a ritual monster to send a card from either extra deck. So that could
come up to send like a little knight.
Yeah, it comes up a lot. You can either pop card
or do they get to send or do you get to send?
I get to send.
You get to send.
So
okay.
I actually get to choose from their extra deck with Matrix. Sometimes that
you can hit like a random Typhon too. Sometimes that sucks.
Yeah. And so let's see. Get our ratios together here. In some sort of a semblance. It makes sense. So there's our fusion monsters we go for a lot of the time, and Herald is another
target. Yeah. Lots of targets.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. So so I found this to be. I mean, the extract's very tight. So.
I can see you're only playing one Mirror Jade. So.
Yeah. So, but no, for Brand Fusion, these are 2 monsters you're making. Oftentimes. I'll prioritize going for Dragoon if I have a full Dogmatika. Like if I have Dogmatika card in hand, I can set up a Dogmatika in board as well. I'll set up a Dragoon as well. If not, and I have no other way to establish follow-up, I'll just make the Mirror Jade. These two, Almirage and the Secure Gardna, again,
on the Maximus, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was contemplating even playing Secure Gardna because lack of space, but.
You just need it sometimes.
Yeah, you do, and it helps you extend through interruption. I'm trying to remember what the percentage was, but it was something like 10 or more % of the time it would help you be able to play when you can't otherwise.
With the Gen and Ken.
Yeah. Okay. So in the event the Gen gets negated, and you open one of your Maximus, so in which case you'd only be able to make Almirage. And you can't get at the grave for the Maximus. So I found the Secure Gardna very valuable for playing through interruption. But yeah, 2 Entis that comes up a lot. I think you need to play at least 2 in this lineup here.
Hey, go ahead. Sorry about that.
You're fine. So when it comes to your Nadir lineup and other extra deck sends, I'm not playing Omega. That helps you recycle, and a lot of people play it. Typically in a gameplay loop, it hasn't come up enough in the past for me to justify the slot. It is good. You can banish things out of your opponent's graveyard, or it returns it to hand actually. So yeah, you can get things out of the graveyard. It's in a graveyard interruption that way. But it's like it's very greedy, a very greedy line of play. You need a lot of sends to be able to get something back in the extra, and then another one to be able to send. That just it doesn't come up enough to justify it, and it's very hard to have enough sends to do that when you're in a very simplified game state anyway, where it matters, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but yeah, 2 sends and then belong. Belong's great.
Everything else seems pretty standard.
Yeah. The 1 arc light because you're only playing 1 ritual.
Yeah.
The part that I recently kind of came to terms with is, I was trying to play Lebellion so that when I was making Dragoon, I would have the Dark Magician, and then I could use its effect to pop. I found that if the Lebellion were to be negated, oftentimes it would mean that it would cripple your grind and your follow-up. So it made more sense to just play the Light Hex Sealed to be able to make the Dragoon, and then you have, if the Albion gets negated, then it gets sent to grave. You've got follow-up, as well as the fact that if you open just your Dogmatika engine, if you're playing a Lebellion instead of one of these, and you send an Albion, well, oftentimes. Let's see, if Lebellion gets negated, and then you get your Dogmatika engine going, you send an Albion, so in which case both these cards have been used, then you have no other fusion monster to be able to make either of these two, if that makes sense. So, so you have Dogmatika in your hand, you go for your Branded Fusion, a Lebellion you would summon gets negated, and then you send an Albion for follow-up, well, you have no other fusion monster to make one of your extra deck monsters with, so in which case, since they're both Albion, you're fine, right? So that's kind of the idea, because one's still on the field, and you can just send it to grave with your Dogmatika cards or otherwise. So,
sure.
But yeah, Titanclad 2, I find that to be mandatory, but I think that pretty much explains the rest of the extra deck.
Yep, cool.
Yeah, this can send Belong. This can send Gura. You send off Intis. I think that's about all the interactions I can think of right at the moment. So, yep, all right.
Side deck.
Belong dick in your mouth.
Oh my god.
Bro.
He's gonna have to edit that later.
No, it's okay.
These out of the way.
Alright.
Okay, so Nib, it's just really good.
Nib.
Certain matchups. And
Nib.
then Ghost Spell.
Branded players.
Graveyard Hate.
Runic, Branded and Runic. I don't know. This locals loves Branded and Runic. So
I used to main deck Droplet, but I put Droll in the main in favor of it. But
That's
it's
fair.
just a solid card overall. Sending your spells, be it Nadir Servant or Branded Fusion, Chainlink 2 is pretty great. And then some of your thrust targets here.
Thrust targets. Herald.
Evenly.
Dusser.
We got too many Sprite players. You guys know who you are. For me to not play Dark Hole.
And then
and then the one White Relic.
So why don't you play a thrust for going first, like Daruma or anything like that, or even EEV?
Well, I could, but that would kind of assume that I either open the punishment or I was de-shifted, in which case I'm in pretty dire straits.
Because if they shifter, you can thrust at the Daruma, because it's usually like cash or the player.
That's good. That's fair. I mean, I could probably cut the Dark Hole for one of these, or if I just played something that was better.
Dark Hole's kind of weird, but I mean,
for our locals,
Sprite players.
For our locals, it's more than sufficient.
Yeah.
But yeah, in regards to this,
and
good for good for pushing for damage.
Do you put that in going second then? Or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So the way it works is when it's summoned, it targets 2 monsters on the field and then gives the attack from one to the other. The reason why this is good going second is because when you make it off of the Calamity, you can send either Intis or you can send Herald, which will search your other ritual monster or spell. So it just makes perfect sense. Nets you an interruption, lets you run over something. So Towers monsters, right? Big pearly monsters, something like that. Right?
Yeah. It can get over a pearly monster.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yep.
I think that's about it.
That's about it. All right.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you later.